Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5,097 cases pending against our netas, our elected representatives, that is MLAs and MPs, 5,000. 2,000 of these cases, or 40% of the total cases, have been languishing in courts for over 5 years. And it has been business and politics as usual for most of them. Startling, right? A lawyer felt the same and approached the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court took serious note of this matter and has issued a slew of directions to the high courts. The court called for fast-tracking trials of MPs and MLAs. The onus has been put on district court judges to monitor these trials, while the high court judges have been asked to seek reports time to time. The top court also called for setting up of more special courts to try MPs and MLAs. But here's the clincher. State governments cannot withdraw cases if there is no permission from the High Court. This is important. The Supreme Court has called for prioritizing cases where death penalty is the maximum punishment. Not just that, the disqualification period of politicians convicted for heinous offences will also be hiked from the existing 6 years. The Supreme Court is saying it will review the 6-year period. Why is this important? Especially when the Supreme Court says that the state government cannot scrap a case against an MLA or an MP without the permission of high courts. This is because time and again our elected netas have gotten away or have been given a long rope depending on which side they have been. Few examples. On your screens, Mukul Roy currently serving as the BJP MLA in West Bengal. He was with the tribunal earlier. He was indicted in the Sharda and Narda scam. The CBI even filed a case against him in the Narda case. And then the switch. Mukul Roy joins the BJP in 2017, and then there is a slowdown in investigations. Himanta Biswa Sarma, currently serving as the Chief Minister of Assam. He was in the Congress. He faced the Sarada scam allegations. He got questioned by the CBI in the 2014 water supply scam. The BJP even campaigned against him in the case. And then the switch. Himanta Biswa Sarma joined the BJP in 2015, and now his name is nowhere to be seen in the charge sheet. More examples. Ajit Pawar, currently serving as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra. The ED had filed a money laundering case against him. His properties were attached in the MSC Bank case, and he's alleged to have received kickbacks. His name gets dropped from the ED charge sheet, and soon enough he splits from the NCP, joins hands with the BJP, and becomes the Deputy Chief Minister. One more name, Chhagan Bhujbal, Minister in the Maharashtra government as we speak, part of Ajit Pawar's scam. He was arrested in 2015 for money laundering and faces charges in a Mumbai plot allotment case. He is also an accused in the Maharashtra Southern Construction Irregularities case. In 2018, he is given bail. He recently joined the NCP, Ajit Kumar faction. Today, he is a minister out on bail, and he has become a minister. But how should we read what the Supreme Court has said? My guest this evening, Pradeep Mahar, leader of the BJP, Advocate APS Khadial, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Ashwini Kumar Dubey is an advocate. He is joining us on the broadcast as well. Can I just come to you first, APS Khadial? Help me understand how the viewer, how the citizen of this country should view what the Supreme Court has said today. Because to my mind, the Supreme Court has not given any orders. It has just put a lot of responsibility on the trial of MPs and MLAs on the high courts.
Thank you very much, Shreya, for the question. I think it's a welcome step, and all the parties should welcome it, especially the Bharatiya Janata Party, given the record, given that Association of Democratic Reforms, which happens to be looking into a lot of things lately and has been giving a lot of credible reports. One of the reports of ADR says that the Bharatiya Janata Party sitting MPs and MLAs have the maximum criminal cases pending against them. And now that the courts have been directed to look into them, to fast track them, monitor them, I think we would definitely get a lot of answers. People would get justice. And this had to be done. This was important because these MPs, MLAs, they used to switch parties. All the examples that I had written down have already been quoted by you, Shreya. But the fact of the matter is that there should be one more thing that should definitely happen. And I'm looking forward to it as well. The state governments that have withdrawn cases, they should be made to explain as to why were these cases withdrawn, what was so special in these cases, What sort of evidence did you see that you thought that the case should be withdrawn and, the court shouldn't decide upon it? So when these governments are made accountable, when the Bharatiya Janata Party is made accountable, I think we'd have a lot more clarity. We'll have a lot more answers. And the Honorable Supreme Court has done a great deal of help to the people of India, because these sitting MPs, MLAs, or the formers, they are representing the people of their constituency in parliaments and legislative assemblies and all these places. And if they have these criminal cases pending against them, they either, and I want to say this one, I want to give the suggestion to the Bharatiya Janata Party as well, do not just be pessimistic about it, be optimistic about it, because if your MP, MLA wouldn't have done anything, then he would also be found, innocent.
Maybe they are optimistic about it. Okay, give me a minute here. I'm getting in Sanjay Hegde. We'll come to the politics of it in just a bit. I do understand then when the Supreme Court says that no state government can scrap the trial against an MLA or an MP without the nod of the High Court, it has political implications as well. But Mr. Hegde, you're joining us on the broadcast. Please help my viewers understand what exactly the Supreme Court has done today and why it is important. Because it's not like the Supreme Court has passed any orders. They have just asked for cases against MPs and MLAs to be fast-tracked. So a lot of our viewers will say, "Arey, isme kaun si bahut badi baat kar di hai?" That the onus has been given to the high courts to keep a track of cases against our netas. What's the big deal about this? Please help our viewers understand what the big deal about it is.
No, to unpack it, the point was that the Supreme Court had earlier required that all trials be held by specially designated courts and that they be completed within a time frame. But obviously, every trial has its own dynamics. Often, you have seen that a trial gets derailed because may not be the politician concerned, but some of the other people who are not officially politicians, but the politician sidekicks or people who have received money in their behalf. Somebody goes to court on some point of law and it gets stuck. So what the court is trying to do is to unpack it and put the responsibility on the concerned high courts so that the high courts monitor things within their jurisdiction, and if and only if necessary does the Supreme Court step in. This is a logical extension of the Supreme Court's earlier judgments, which had required fast-track courts. In fact, this process has been a long way in the making. You may, some of your older viewers might remember how the Supreme Court transferred the cases against Jayalalitha from Tamil Nadu to Karnataka in the interests of a fair trial. But despite appointing a special public prosecutor and everything, that process itself, the trial process, took over a decade and more. What the Supreme Court is trying to do is to cut down on those delays and finish it off within a year so that people have a reasonable idea of who their representatives are.
Okay, Pradeep Mahar just come in here. The Congress representative on the show is saying the BJP will be very pessimistic with what the Supreme Court has said today. Are you pessimistic? Given the fact that the charge often comes against you is that as soon as someone switches sides to the BJP, there is a washing machine that comes into play and the state government will start halting the process of the trial or the investigation against the concerned person. I've drawn out a list, but is the BJP pessimistic with what the Supreme Court has said today? Do you think the intent of the Supreme Court also is to ensure that just because you're switching sides doesn't mean you'll go scot-free?
Look, first of all, we need to understand that this case, this PIL, was filed by Ashwani Upadhyay, who is a BJP leader. So ultimately, this was not discussed by Khadial, and previous discussion, I was really surprised on this. If it has been filed by BJP politician, this shows that what BJP wants. We have been advocating on judicial reforms. We have been talking about, clearing cases as earliest as possible. Whosoever it is, whether it is a politician, a common person, he has a right to get, the decision of his case. I mean, it should be as earliest as possible. So BJP has been advocating this, and this is what is there in this the PIL also, wherein a BJP politician has filed the PIL for the same purpose, and court has given judgment or statement in favor of that PIL. As simple as that. So point what I'm going to quote is, here, can I speak a sentence right before you say something?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
In this scenario, the kind of politics that is going on is very surprising. People are advocating their parties, just for the heck of it, without having any logic. I saw that there were cases where some of the Congress politicians, right, were caught with huge money, and what I heard was, in the debates, that some of the politicians were saying, "Oh, we are being targeted." Rubbish! You should be ashamed. Your politicians have been caught with tons and tons of money, piles and piles of money. Instead of being ashamed, you are advocating them, saying we are being targeted. What rubbish is going on?
Okay.
From opposition side, the kind of politics that is going
Kumar
on
Dubey.
is horrible.
No, I understand what you're saying. Ashwini Kumar Dubey, I want you to come in here. There are many people who are watching this broadcast and they may think to themselves that why should politicians get special treatment? Why fast tracking of cases against them? Why not for the Aam Aadmi who has to wait for years and years and years for justice? Court tarik pe tarik for normal citizens. And for netas, the Supreme Court is saying let's fast track cases against them.
There is a reason. The reason is that the power lies with the politicians. Politicians may influence the process as per their whims and fancies in order to delay the trial. The ordinary citizen's trial gets completed as per the existing judicial infrastructure. But here the justice to those who are legislating or the legislators making laws, the justice should be given if there is a political vendetta involved, one. If they have really misused or abused the legal process in order to win in the electoral process. Third, Supreme Court has very rightly said, this is that the power to withdraw cases. Why there is a Supreme Court says that it is to be in fast track court? Because whenever a politician wins an election, then the power to withdraw as per section 21 of CRPC lies with the party in power. So Supreme Court said, look, if you have power to withdraw and any cases are registered against a politician, then that power may be used against the law. That is why the Supreme Court says that the power to withdraw cases cannot be used for political purposes. And no prosecution against a sitting or former MP MLA shall be withdrawn without the leave of the High Court, as you rightly said. Now, you have shown certain names with the cases pending against them in your broadcast.
Correct.
If by virtue of this order, that the guidelines which has been passed by the Supreme Court, with the special bench constitution of the High Court and the principal district and the sessions judge, if will see and look into that how many cases have been and where it have reached, and what is the logical end, whether those cases are going on a smoothly and the prosecution is supporting or not. These things are within the domain now by virtue of this judge with the High Court and the district judge. Now the justice will be given to against who have misused this machinery, because ultimately you have to understand that the politicians, various leaders kept promises, decisive action against the criminals in politics. Winnability has become a criteria, and Supreme Court from time to time, not today, Supreme Court has passed many judgments. Justice Deepak Mishra saying that criminal antecedents had to be published thrice. Then the Election Commission has also been certain responsibilities, and in furtherance to that, because ultimately white collar offenses, the corruption and the political framework does not get, you cannot say that there is no corruption in the political framework. So in order to streamline, and also the category, it is also, Shreya, you have to agree that there are certain political vendetta also when cases are registered or cases are withdrawn. So that is why three categories have been formulated in the court saying that one, when the punishment is death, life imprisonment or something, punishment or more than 5 years and less than 5 years. So ultimately justice has to come. And if anybody is aggrieved by that order that look, within 1 year I'm not able to put the evidences within, so then they have a right to appeal. But ultimately we have to see this is
okay. So as they say, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. But does it bend towards justice when it comes to our politicians? Sanjay Hegde, I have exactly 20 seconds. Can I just ask you this? You know, we've seen it in Uttar Pradesh as well. Ashwani ji has just mentioned it, where you had the sitting chief minister withdraw cases against himself. So what the Supreme Court has said today essentially will mean that no chief ministers can do that. I'm assuming that is what it means. But does the fact that no state government can actually withdraw a case against any MP or MLA without the nod of the High Court, does this have political significance in the political world that we live in right now?
Well, right now, all over the states, there are a few opposition governments, but they're mostly, largely there are BJP governments. So it does mean that the BJP governments cannot do what the current chief minister of UP has done in an earlier point of time. This order does not apply to the UP situation because those things are in the past. Henceforth, you cannot withdraw without leave of the High Court. Even earlier, the law was that you could withdraw only with the leave of the court. The concerned court could be a trial court, could be a sessions court or whatever. The court had to allow withdrawal, but whenever a prosecution says, we want to withdraw this case, the court says, oh, good, one more case disposed of, let's withdraw. I'm permitting you to withdraw. Now the High Court will have to apply its mind. They have to say, oh, this politician, what is the case? Are you sure that there is no material? And are you sure that the reason that you want to withdraw is germane to the issue of law and order? Only then will they permit it. So it is one more break in the process.
All right. Sanjay Hegde, we leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. It was important for us to understand what exactly the Supreme Court is trying to do here and how it fits into our political context. Ashwini Kumar Dubey, thank you very much as well. Mr. Khadial, good to have you on the show. Pradeep Mahor, thank you very much as well. With that, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. There's more on the other side. Do stay with us.